Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 5 of our build series. In this episode, we're going to be finishing up a little bit of framing on the roof and then getting our metal roof on the house, as well as doing a little bit of troubleshooting of some electrical. We're into the beginning of the year. This is right at the beginning of January, and so far this winter has been a pretty light winter. I've had some great weather windows, which helped a lot with being able to get work done. With working alone on this project, it's you got to get creative. Putting boards up and nails up to try to hold the other end of boards, and then just taking my time. And nice thing about the structure is not very tall. It's only 9-foot walls, so not super worried about it. But just got to be careful because I'm the only worker, and if I hurt myself, then that's the end of it. Our road right now is really rough. I don't know that I would be able to get deliveries out here, but it's nice having the trailer with the gooseneck on it. But definitely had to take my time going slow, getting the doors in. Didn't want to break any glass. It was the same with the windows, just taking it nice and easy. Here's the mini skid steer again at work. Really is a useful little tool. With the forks, it can lift just about a full unit of OSB or plywood. It's nice because you can fit in those tight spots and get around really easily. Had my son Gregory out for another day. He wanted to play with the drone, so we just put it on the follow me mode and he ran around and Murphy got to join in. So we live up in North Idaho, and I really like Ibex Metal. They do a great job. If you're in the Northwest, highly recommend them. They've always given me great pricing.
You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. I know. You can't come up here though. I can't trust you to not slide off the roof.
Up on the roof, the first day roofing, I was by myself and made some great progress. That's the nice thing about doing the ribbed panels, the 3-foot wide panels. They're called a GR8 is the technical specification, but they go up fast and you can cover a lot of roof quickly. I always measure from each side of the roof, so I figure out where I want my screw holes to line up. So I shoot to, even though we're sheeted, so you theoretically could screw anywhere, I still try to line up over my purlins, and then I snap a line to get everything square. As you can see, the roof was starting to get just a little bit out of square here, about a 16th, and you have just a little bit of room to adjust the roof. And so you can see I lipped it over just a little tighter on the top and pushed it out a little bit on the bottom to keep it on square, and that'll give a nice straight roof line. One thing you'll see is when you don't get the roof square early on and you don't keep those sheets in square, is that people end up having to drop their sheets down, and then you see this kind of sawtooth pattern. If you take a close look at a lot of metal buildings, especially people who haven't done much metal, you can notice those things. But so far, roof went up really quickly. One thing I do on all my metal is I punch my holes ahead of time. And so I take a metal awl and I lay out my screw pattern, and then I punch it on the ground. It makes it fast because having that divot, that indent, it's really a lot easier to screw through it. But then you get a nice straight screw pattern, which just makes the structure look that much nicer and makes it look professional. Bauer has made some tools that DeWalt doesn't have available, and one thing I'll go over in a future video is how you can modify a Bauer tool to run off DeWalt batteries. It's pretty handy. But using the power shears here to cut down and trim off the end of that panel. This is day 2, so the first day I spent about 5 hours on the roof, got the one side all the way done. Second day I had my friend Jed up helping me. We've been trading work here and there just a couple days. He's working on building a timber frame addition to his house right now, so I helped him with the mini skid steer. We went and got his timbers up and set, and there will be a video coming out on that in the future here. So with the 2 people, it's nice. It went a lot faster. It took us about 2.5 hours to get the other side of the roof on. So that's the nice thing about a metal roof, is it goes up fast and it looks nice. I believe in the north where we live, metal roofing is a great way to go. It's a lot more resistant to ice dams, and if you don't mind the snow sloughing off, which I don't mind at all, then it's self-cleaning, gets the snow off, and don't have the problem with ice dams and water backing up underneath your shingles like you would have composite. So you can see we got our peak is done. We got a nice straight peak there, and getting started on our trim details. So this is our gable trim. Pretty much everything with the metal and the GR8, the rib panel, is 1 inch. And so I got everything here lined out and marked at 1 inch. You can see we make our cuts, and doing trim details and how to do trim. If any of you guys are interested in learning how to do metal, if you thinking you might want to do a project, whether it be a house or a shop or a shed with metal, this summer I'm going to be building a shed that matches our house, and I'll have the time to go into a lot more detail on how to do all these trim details. But you can see we got our gable pieces, edges folded over and riveted to hold them in, and then up on the roof. It really makes it start to look like a complete roof system. The flow vent, I've used this on the last 3 projects I've used. It works great. We're doing a blown-in insulation in our attic, and so we need to have attic ventilation. We have an E vent, and then we have a peak vent. And so on the peak there, we have that flow vent, and what it does is they say it can resist wind-driven rain up to like 100 miles an hour or something, and so it keeps water from infiltrating, but it allows the air to go in, so it allows you to get adequate ventilation in your attic space. The trusty old DeWalt compressor finally kicked the bucket after 7 years of hard use. Well, we're back out at the property today. Beautiful day, good. About 10 days of sunshine in the forecast. Weather from anywhere from 16 degrees to into the 30s, so cold but sunny and a great weather window. Got the roof completely done, and so just have one more wall to frame, and then we're on to trim and siding. So making good progress. But the other day my air compressor decided that it wanted to kick the bucket, and so I messed with it, tried to see if I could get it working, and ended up tripping my GFCI, which now does not want to work. So now I've got to troubleshoot a GFCI and figure out why I'm not getting power. All right, turn everything on here and see if we can get this working. If you don't have one already, you need one of these. This is a standard plug tester. Test GFCI, tells you if your plugs are all wired correctly, but it also tells you if there's power. It's a handy little tool for fixing things around the house. We'll see if this wants to reset today. Yeah, so that's the problem. This does not want to reset. Got my power right here. Oh, yep, so it's got power going to it. It's just not wanting to work. So I ended up pulling out the old GFCI. There was power to it, but it wouldn't reset. Got it replaced with a new one, and in the end it started working. Worked for about 5 hours, and then it cut off too. So I pulled everything back apart again, and I inspected my wires a little bit closer, and I found that my hot lead, the black one, just a little nick in the sheathing. You know, the GFCIs are a little bit more sensitive, and that was enough that it was causing problems. And so it's one of those things just important when you're pulling the Romex off your wiring. And this was pretty obvious that it was a homeowner job. When they did their Romex, there was a nick right where they cut their Romex. And so I was able to get that pulled apart, get it fixed, and got my GFCI up and running. It's one of those things you run into when you're building and really doing any project, is that I had big plans for the day I got out here, but unfortunately what I needed to get done that day, I needed the air compressor running. So I had to drive a half hour back into town, had to get a new GFCI, get my tools so that I could try to figure out what was going on with the plug, get it wired up. So it kind of threw a wrench in the day and didn't get done when I wanted to. And where we're at right now, this is the beginning of January, and we're trying to move into our house April 1st. I mean, we have to move into our house April 1st because we have renters moving into our house April 1st in town. We're on a short timeline, and every day that we run into those problems, it just sets us back further. It ends up being longer days and more hours, but we'll get there. So finally got everything up and running. You can see our green light there. It tested properly with the plug tester, and we're ready to keep at it. We appreciate you following along, watching our videos. There's going to be a lot more to come. Right now we're in a busy season of life. I work full-time still and building the house and trying to manage family time and spend time with the family. But hopefully once we finish building here, we're going to be doing more videos, covering more things, and be able to invest more time into it. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll be releasing another video soon.